Hello, I'm Matthew Tuttlebaum, the Anne and Graham Gunn Director of your Museum of Fine Arts. I'd like to welcome you all very warmly to tonight's 7th annual Hanukkah celebration. And I have to say now that the way we gather has changed, a little different, but I want to say so directly that it's really important that we stay connected. We have had a remarkable response to tonight's celebration and the related programming, and I'm delighted that you've chosen to be with us. It's the role of the museum to bring people together, and we're doing it this way with great partners in a way that really celebrates great traditions in our community. After all, now more than ever, we are steadfast in the belief that we can be at the museum and in our community a meeting place of world cultures. A place where we can all gather to share experience, gather understanding of each other through the lens of art. We at the museum are committed to sharing our collection with the broadest possible audiences in service of our goal of bringing art and people together. I'd like to recognize all of the artists, musicians, and presenting partners who collaborated with us in this endeavor. You are the heart and soul of who we are. In particular, please let me offer profound thanks to the Jewish Arts Collaborative and Combined Jewish Philanthropies, our planning and promotional partners since the beginning, and you are great partners. Your enthusiasm, commitment, and hard work in making this event such a success, I put the hard work piece in there for Laura, and your dedication to sharing Jewish arts and culture is a model for true collaboration. We could not do it without you. And we truly appreciate your creative energy and your collaborative spirit. And we would like to extend our thanks to Justin Brovitz, Market Director at Banking at Chase, Greater Boston. Thank you for your belief in engaging with the community and for your generous support of this evening. It's now my pleasure to introduce my great friend, Laura Mendel, the Executive Director of Jewish Arts Collaborative, great friend to me and to the Museum of Fine Arts.
Thank you, Matthew. While sitting here in my own home doesn't quite have the festive vibe that we've all come to cherish at the museum every year, I admit that there's something nice about being with all of you and not worrying about my 2-year-old crying in the middle of the museum. But really, the ability to be here with everyone online, like Matthew said, it feels so much more special and important right now than ever. And I'm energized celebrating all together. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the MFA team and to the Israeli Consulate and to CJP, who've been steadfast partners in this. And a special thank you to ZVI Construction, who've made this program possible for J-Arts for many years. The program tonight is intentionally the night before Hanukkah starts, as some of you have noted, our hope being that we actually want to bring a bit of the light of the holiday to your home to spread across the week. And of course, we also have other things happening this week so that we hope you'll join us for the brighter connected window art installations that are on display in 8 neighborhoods throughout the holiday, specifically with one piece called Black as Light that is being projected on the museum tonight, starting tonight and extending throughout the week. It's by artist Eric Jacobs in partnership with Boston Poet Laureate Portia Oleola, and I hope you'll go check it out, please. And even if you're not in Boston, if you have an iPhone, take it out now and go to the App Store, because we have a new app called J-Arts Gallery. It's an augmented reality app that's featuring vignettes of the art and stories of 4 incredible Chanukiot, one of which is actually the story of a 1932 Nazi-era Chanukiah that you see here in the home of a rabbi in Germany, and it feels a little too relevant today. So I know the phrase "we're in this together" might feel a bit tired and overused at this moment, but I just want to say how important this is and how closely connected it is to the J-Arts mission of letting culture connect us all. Tonight, as you hear Ashkenazi music by Hankus Netsky, side by side with music by Ethiopian-Israeli singer Tamar Radah, I hope it reminds us of the commonalities that we all share as human beings and of the differences that make us so special. Tonight's program for me is such a beautiful reminder of this, and I hope you'll join us in celebrating this. A note to all of you families out there, in addition to this program, if you look on the JArts YouTube channel, there's also a family playlist with crafts and music and storytelling, so you can have even more Hanukkah celebration in your home. And for those of us who celebrate other holidays of light in this cold, dark season, I say Happy Diwali, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, and of course, Happy Hanukkah. Now, if you haven't grabbed your own Chanukiah yet, please go ahead and grab it and join us. We're actually going to do a candle lighting all together at the end of this. So before I throw it to my dear friend and colleague, Mark Baker, president of CJP, to lead us in the candle lighting, I want to welcome Consul Daniel Agranov from the Consulate General of Israel to New England to bring us greetings from Israel. Daniel.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Mark. I want to thank specifically MFA and JArts for this wonderful program. It's my third year here in Boston, and every year I'm enjoying this program with my family. I also missing this possibility to go with all my 5 kids to the museum and run around and have fun with all the exhibits, but I hope we will meet together next year. This is the holiday of lights, so I'm very excited that we will light this Chanukiah that my daughter Daphne made last year. We will light this Chanukiah and other Chanukiah together. I encourage you to light those Chanukiah in your homes and put it on the windows, that everyone will share the light, your family, your friends, and your neighbors. This is also a holiday of miracles. And I hope and pray, I'm sure with you, that this era of pandemic will end, the new normal will end, and we will come to a normal. We will come back, we will join together in celebrating Hanukkah next year in MFA with all the other partners. And I am very excited to light this Chanukiah with you now. I just want to emphasize that this year we are at Israel Consulate are spreading the spirit of Tikkun Olam, the repair of the world in Hebrew, and helping the one in need with our new programs around New England. So to all our friends in non-Jewish community, Happy Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Diwali, and of course, Chag Sameach, Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you both for your leadership. And of course, thank you to Laura and to JArts for your vision, your incredible energy, and your creativity. I'm sorry not to be with everybody in person this year. I have to say the candle lighting at the MFA with thousands of members of our community has really become one of the highlights of my year. But Hanukkah, after all, is a story of resiliency and perseverance. And so here we are virtually, because nothing will stop us from shining our light out into the world. In the face of this pandemic, our community's response over the past many months has been extraordinary. Thousands of donors and volunteers mobilizing millions of dollars to respond to basic human needs, both here in Greater Boston and around the world. We are facing multiple crises right now, and the needs are only growing. But the desire to give back, to bring light in the midst of darkness, is growing as well. And even as we focus on our basic needs and on human dignity during this pandemic, our community is also adapting and innovating to ensure that we continue to broaden, deepen, and expand the ways that everyone can find meaning and connection in Judaism and Jewish life. Virtual events like this one are breaking down boundaries and making it possible for more people to access the power of Jewish culture and community. That's what this candle lighting has always been about. Come one, come all, come families, whoever you are, however you identify, come see and feel the beauty and the magic of arts and culture and history and ritual. These are the lifeblood of the Jewish people for thousands of years that are being renewed and recreated for the 21st century. I'm so proud that CJP has partnered with JArts this year to launch our first ever Community Creative Arts Fellowship in order to shine new light on local Jewish artists who will in turn shine their lights on all of us, ensuring that this community is a dynamic, vibrant model of what is possible when we create the Jewish future together. Thank you all for joining us tonight. In the spirit of Hanukkah, the festival of lights, and in the spirit of the resiliency and renewal of Jewish life and culture, please join me now in lighting the Hanukkah candles. As Laura said, since Hanukkah has not officially started yet, we can each light our candles in our own ways right now. I'm going to choose to light all the candles in order to bring in as much light as possible as we begin this holiday. And in lieu of the traditional blessings, since the holiday hasn't started, let me just say the following. Thank you, God, for blessing us with this mitzvah, this commandment and sacred opportunity to bring your light and our light, love and healing to a world that really needs them right now. Thank you, everyone. And now we'd like to say,
Happy Hanukkah.
Hanukkah.
Good evening. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you for the introduction. My name is Justin Brovitz. I'm the market director for Chase Bank here in Boston, and I'm delighted to help to celebrate the Museum of Fine Arts Hanukkah Cultural Celebration for my second year in a row. While this year's celebration looks very different from last year when we were all here together in person, it's important to keep the museum's cultural celebrations alive, and Chase is proud to sponsor today's virtual event. When I think of Hanukkah, I think of family, specifically my childhood. I have great memories of coming together as a family and celebrating the holiday together. Now, as a father of two, I look forward to carrying that tradition on and can't wait to celebrate with my children this year. Despite the challenges 2020 has presented, Chase is still committed to growing here in New England with more than 60 new branches, and we're actively out in the community hiring. As part of our expanded presence in the region, we truly value our ongoing partnership with the City of Boston and local cultural institutions like the MFA. Supporting the arts is important to us as a firm and as a community. Thank you all for joining us today, and I'd like to thank our programming partner, Jewish Arts Collaborative, as well as local artists that are sharing their creativity with us, and the MFA for giving Chase the opportunity to be part of such an important community celebration. Happy Hanukkah.
አበባዬ ሁይ ለምለም አበባዬ ሁይ ለምለም ባልንጀሮቼ ቁሙ በተራ ለምለም እንጨት ሰብሬ ቤትክን ስንሰራ እንኳን ቤትና የለይም አጥር እደጀራለሁ ኮከብ ስቆጥር ሆበል ማሰንቆ ጎበዝ ክራር ስፈናገሬ ሆበል ዋሽንቴ አንተ ማሰንቆ ስታይሶታትኮ እንኳን ደረሰና ለአዲስ ዘመን ዘመን ጀመር ነው ይነገር ለዓለም እንዳይለያየ ዘላለም አሜን። nene. Whoa, whoa. Oh, nene. Whoa, whoa. Woody now. So I get it so I get molded. Oh, my was so Sinagorared. The Latin cigar. So I get it so. Be money don't call. Be money don't call. Love it. Oh, one better now. You lay your mother. Jarralo. Cocoon sugar. القوان بيتنا يلي يماتر رجالو كوكو سكتر القوان بيتنا يلي يماتر رجالو كوكو سكتر القوان بيتنا يلي يماتر رجالو كوكو سكتر
Good evening. My name is Simona Di Nepi, and I'm Charles and Lynn Schusterman, Curator of Judaica. I'm absolutely delighted to be here with artist Moshe Zabari, who's joining us from Jerusalem to tell us about this gorgeous silver cup that we acquired last year. Hello, Moshe.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Simona.
So I should actually say, first of all, that the word Judaica means Jewish ritual objects made for use in the home and synagogue. And Moshe Zabari is a living monument, and I hope you won't mind my saying this, of modern Judaica, because he has a career that spans over 60 years as a silversmith, designer, sculptor, with works spread across the US, Israel, Australia, Canada, in museums, private collections, and congregations. Moshe Zabari also was artist in residence and director of the Judaica workshop at the Jewish Museum in New York for nearly 3 decades. But I'd like to jump right into the looking at this cup with Moshe. The cup was made for Kiddush. Kiddush is the wine blessing recited on Friday night and on other Jewish festivals. And when I saw it, I was immediately struck and blown away by the very sharp lines, sort of asymmetrical design, and this just sculptural quality of the cup. So I'd like to ask Moshe, what inspired him to make such a different shape for a Kiddush cup, and what is the story behind it?
Thank you. This Kiddush cup, it's a process of almost 40 years. And the reason I'm saying 40 years, it's because in 1965, there was a traveling exhibit to travel in different cities in the States of archaeological objects from Iran. And among those objects was this Kiddush cup that you can see on the screen. And it just moved me so much. It was a gold wine cup, which was crushed completely. And it was embossed in different animals, which was really a very joyful piece of work. And for 40 years, it was in the back of my mind until in 93, I believe, I designed what I was in my mind, and this is the results. The original cup was 1200 BCE.
And so you made, just to clarify, you made your own drawing, which is beautiful in its own right, the drawing, and then sort of reproduced what you call the crushed look of the metal. I'd like to show a slide with several views of the different sides of the cup, because that's important. Could you tell us about the different sides and the engravings that you did on them?
Yes. Usually a wine cup, a Kiddush cup, is made for the Sabbath Kiddush. But this one, I decided to make it for all the festivals that are used at the blessing of the wine. And what we have here on the right picture is engraving of a lulav and etrog, which is used for the high holidays. And on the middle one, the bottom one has engraved a shofar, a blowing shofar that is used for the New Year's. And on top, it's very faded, but it's engraved a matzah, which is used for Passover. On the left top is the tablets, the 10 Commandments, and engraved, and that is for the Shavuot holiday.
So, and also not just different symbols, but completely different look. Every side surprises you again and again. And I remember that when you talked to me about this cup, you said that it was one of the most difficult on a technical point of view works that you had ever done. Could you explain to us why that is on a technical side, that it was so complicated?
That was made one piece. Although it looks in the photograph, it looks made of pieces of silver, but it's not. It's one piece of sheet of silver, which is folded in different directions to get the form. And that is a very difficult technique.
I'm sure it is, but it actually pays to our advantage because it means that you only made one example of this cup, and underneath it says you engraved one of one. So we really do have the one-off unique piece of this cup in our collection. We also have, and we're very, very lucky to have a work, these beautiful silver candlesticks for the Shabbat for Friday night that you actually made very early on in your career. You were still in your 20s, and you made from a design of your teacher, Ludwig Walpert. when
Yeah,
he had invited you to follow him to New York to work alongside him at the Judaica workshop of the Jewish Museum, where, as I said, you stayed for almost 30 years. I wanted to ask you, through this piece and looking at these candlesticks, what would you say was the influence of Wolpert on your work at that time and later?
Well, it's pretty difficult. He was my teacher for from 1955 to 1956 when he moved. It's hard to say. I mean, it's for sure there was influence, a big influence. And Wolpert was known for his design includes the Hebrew letters. And as you can see here, there are 3 words on each one of the candlesticks, and which you will translate it.
Yes, it says, I think it's a verse from Isaiah, and it says,
Right.
from the Bible, from Isaiah, and it says, I think, I will rejoice in the Lord, my soul will rejoice in God. That's the meaning
Correct.
of the verse. And it's
Correct.
about the joy of the Shabbat coming and of the rituals.
Right. Now, if you see the rest of my works, you will be able to judge if I was influenced or not.
You were influenced, but you also then went your own way and created something different. I'd like to draw our visitors' attention and your attention to the fact that we were so fortunate to be able to install both the candlesticks and the cup last year, exactly 1 year ago, for Hanukkah. So these 2 works are together representing very different chapters in your life. And I'm inviting all the visitors to come and see Moshe's brilliant work in the Farago Gallery for Contemporary Studio Craft. And Moshe, thank you so much for being with us and for just gifting us with this incredible career and work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good evening. My name is Simona Di Nepi, and I'm Charles and Lynn Schusterman, Curator of Judaica. I have the pleasure to introduce to you Tamar Paley, a young and gifted jewelry designer and Judaica artist who's joining us from Israel. Hello, Tamar.
Hi.
So 2 years ago, we acquired these 3 brilliant works that we discovered in a solo exhibition at Hadassah Brandeis Gallery called A Fringe of Her Own, a collection of ritual objects for women. And this was actually the subject of Tamar's college thesis, which won a prestigious scholarship and ultimately led to the solo exhibition. So I thought I would invite Tamar to tell us about this project and about the specific works that we acquired. Tamar, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Simona. So actually, with these pieces, I wanted to offer a new feminine interpretation of the traditional Jewish ritual objects that are typically worn by men and associated with a long-lasting male tradition. I did this by deconstructing and rebuilding the iconic ritual objects to reflect the physical and spiritual experience of women in Judaism today as I perceive it. I wanted the designs to include ancient Jewish text and symbolism, and I did this by using symbolic materials such as silver, handmade textiles, and printed parchment. The middle piece you can see here reimagines the hand tefillin, a ritual object based on the biblical command, "You shall bind them as a sign upon your arm, and they shall be a reminder between your eyes." Traditionally, this ritual object consists of 2 boxes that are worn on the body. The first is worn on the forehead between the eyes, and the second is placed on the arm using tightly wrapped leather straps. Each box is etched with the Hebrew letter Shin, which is a symbol of God, and inserted with scrolls with phrases of the Shema prayer, which is the morning and evening prayer. My design, which you can see here, offers a more literal translation of this biblical command by directly placing the Hebrew letter Shin, the sign, on the arm and placing the scroll underneath it, as you can see here. The shape of the bracelet echoes the traditional leather straps that wrap around the wearer's arm, while the blue threads hang loosely and delicately in contrast. Although the scroll here is exposed, the words are hidden within, achieving the intimate and private aspect of the original containers. The other 2 pieces that the museum acquired that you can see here can be worn together as they both focus on the idea that a so-called simple garment can transport the wearer from an everyday moment to a sacred one by marking a spiritual domain through material and gesture. I am intrigued by this concept of going in and out of a spiritual mindset and our need for objects to help us make this transition in our everyday lives. Therefore, the collar is inserted with the phrase, "The one who distinguishes between sacred and profane," typically referring to God, who differs between the holy and mundane, but rather here, the phrase refers to the object and its purpose. To me, this piece also embodies the essence of a talit, the traditional Jewish prayer shawl, a rectangular garment inserted with the tzitzit, which are the symbolic fringes, tied to the ends of each corner. The necklace you see here on the right also references to the prayer shawl, as I reduced those 4 corners to one monumental square, or corner if you will, with the one symbolic fringe tied to the center. The square shape that is placed on the chest can be easily linked to the iconic choshen, the high priest's jeweled breastplate that is described in the Bible, but to me, it also resembles a weaving loom, connecting it to the craft of making a talit with the blue, white, and silver threads stretched upon it and continuing on to form the necklace. The long central tassel that you can see here is placed on a hinge, which gives the silver movement and allows all of the gestures made when wearing fringes. In this piece, I really wanted to create a contemporary version of tzitzit, the ritual fringes, that is fashionable and desirable, and that embodies the primary biblical command to place fringes on our clothing as a reminder of our Jewish heritage and duties, as I imagine it to be worn as part of a woman's outfit and as part of her everyday clothing ritual, in the same way that a man wears his tzitzit. I hope that these pieces can empower women and connect them to these ancient practices should they choose to do so.
Wow, thank you so much, Tamar. I'm sure that these brilliant works will and do and will empower women. And I'd like to say that before we saw Tamar's work, we were very much on the hunt for contemporary and feminist works of Judaica. But Tamar's works go well beyond that and really add very personal, thoughtful, and profound thinking about Jewish faith and the place of women in Jewish practice. So just to conclude, I'd like to invite our visitors to visit Tamar's website to find out more about the project, because it was much broader than what we've shown. It has many more works in her exhibition. And so I invite you to visit the website. I hope that we'll be able soon to show the works in the galleries. I'd like to thank Tamar for creating these special works and for this wonderful talk. Thank you, Tamar.
Thank you, Simona.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So the name of the band is Ashkenaz Rising, and welcome to our Hanukkah show on this beautiful, beautiful December day. Couldn't be more beautiful. And we're bringing in the Hanukkah season here with a song by the great Moshe Oisher, Drei Dreidele, spin the dreidel because I'm feeling very lucky.
Ohne weiß gedenken Tische, ja, dai, 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 dai. Ich hab die Bräuche schon gemacht, die man neu geschenkt hat, Pracht, da, dai, lai, 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 lai. Treu sitzen in jeder Flamme, stolz bin ich mit mir Scham, ja, dai, lai, 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 dai. Drei Löffeln zu gerücken, drei zu gerücken. Die Woche von Chanukah ist alles bei mir gewonnen. I drille von Zigaretten, drille Zigaretten. Nimm die Woche in Chanukah, ihr seid bei mir gewonnen. Jeder Licht hat das Sinn, ist der Mond nicht wer ich bin, aber lei, 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 lei. Immer neuer, so ist bescheint, alle sind meine Freunde, la, da, 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 da. Apikorsem Ruferein, sollen sie nicht gerechten sein, ja, dai, 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 dai. Sollen sie Tage sind allein, sie sei größer, nesse Schein, ja, dai, 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 dai. Drei Teile für uns zu gerüten, drei Teile zu gerüten. In die Woche in Chanukah, ihr seid bei mir gewonnen. Ein Teile für uns, drei Teile zum Gerüten. In die Woche in Chanukah, ihr seid bei mir gewonnen. Als ich heute gerecht, als Stieg und Brücke licht, ja, nein, 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 nein. Oh, brennen wird doch teures Land und belacht in unser Gang, ja, nein, 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 nein. Bringe viele Säune mit, schreckst dich ab, noch Straße mit, ja, nein, 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 nein. Oh, bring mir Brot und bring mir Wein, will mir alle freilich sein, ja, nein, 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 nein.
to the Hanukkah theme here. And we've got Ocho Candlesticks, a song from the great Flori Jagoda. Flori Jagoda is turning 97 this December. And so we are delighted to do this wonderful, wonderful Ladino song for Hanukkah. I think we'll just count to ocho. I think that will probably be enough. And we will eat our pastelikas with almonds and honey. No latkes, but pastelikas, maybe even better. So here we go.
Hanukkah linda está aquí, 8 candelas para mí. Hanukkah linda está aquí, 8 candelas para mí. Oh, una candelicas, 2 candelicas, 3 candelicas, 4 candelicas, 5 candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas, 8 candelas para mí. Muchas fiestas vou fazer com alegria e prazer. Muchas fiestas vou fazer com alegrias e prazer. Una candelicas, 2 candelicas, 3 candelicas, 4 candelicas, 5 candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas, 8 candelas para mí. Los pastelicos voy a comer con almendricas y la miel. Los pastelicos voy a comer con almendricas y la miel. Una candelicas, 2 candelicas, 3 candelicas, 4 candelicas, 5 candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas,